Welcome back to the $2 Film Club. Today is a very special episode. We're taking a little bit of a break from actually, talking about a specific film in general. And as I said in the last episode, we were originally going to talk about a Christmas movie as Christmas is coming up. But we never really decided on what that was going to be. And I'm going to be honest, I don't get that much enjoyment from watching or talking about Christmas movies. They're kind of just whatever.
You heartless son of a fucking bitch.
Yeah. But instead, we're going to do our sort of own version of like our end of the year, wrap up lists and whatnot. So first, we'll talk about our top 10 favorite movies that we saw that came out in 2025. And then the last one, because I just thought it would be really for fun, was we're going to talk about the worst movies that we watched in 2025 because boy, did we watch a lot of bad movies, specifically for this podcast. Yeah. So, Ryan, are you good to go?
Yeah, I just don't know where or how you want to start off.
I figured we'd just, start off from the bottom, going up each. Like, you can say one, like your 10 spot, and then I'll say my 10 stop. We can talk about them briefly, if that makes sense.
So I don't have them like ranked 1 through 10. I just kind of throw them in like a grouping together.
That's fine.
I just always find it so hard to like think about what I consider number 1 to be.
Yeah.
And then I'll come back to it in like a week and be like, but like whenever I put it number 2 or 3 has like this going for it a little bit more, you know?
Yeah.
So I just like to throw everything into one group, but I'm trying to think.
Because like I was saying to you before, I struggled to not only find stuff that I thought was worthy enough of like being on this list, but also just all of these movies were kind of on equal playing field for me. So I'm not putting too much on the ranking part.
Yeah, I agree. I guess I'll start with the film that I know you didn't see, but it's One Battle After Another. I'll just talk about it briefly because I think you need to watch it. It's a film that I wasn't expecting it to turn out the way it did, and I think like that's the best way for me to explain it, where the trailer does a really good job at telling you what the story is, but not what the film's about. And I really like that. And I think that's the best way to like explain to you if you'd watch the trailer or like kind of have a good idea about what it is. Like going into this, I didn't expect to have such a funny performance from Leonardo DiCaprio. And you have like some funny bits in the trailer, but he is essentially full comic the entire film. And it's not like laugh out loud humor or comedy, but it's like chuckling to like, dude, what is this like mumbling father doing right now? Because he's just like not a failure at everything he does in like a negative sense. He's just a goofy guy who never does the correct thing when he's trying to, and I think that's like a lot of how the story revolves around. With also like Sean Penn gives an insanely over the top performance that I also wasn't expecting. And so I think like the story kind of gets caught up a little bit in the middle, but I think a lot of the performances are really good and it's really well directed and written by Paul Thomas Anderson, who's just kind of been on a banger recently. But I definitely think you should see it, and I just want to mention it because it's a film that I think I've come back to, like just sitting down and thinking about like what I enjoyed about it and like why in particular, because it was something I really wasn't expecting.
Yeah, I've been hearing a lot of really good buzz about this movie. I don't think I've seen any Paul Thomas Anderson movie, if I'm being honest.
Dude,
I'm looking at his filmography right now, and yeah, I'm pretty sure I've never seen a single one.
You've never seen There Will Be Blood?
No.
I've seen Inherent Vice once. I haven't seen a lot of his, but like,
yeah,
I'm shocked you haven't seen like Boogie Nights or.
I mean, obviously, I'm familiar with him as a filmmaker. Like, he's one of the bigger directors that you hear about a lot. But I don't know. I guess I've never had much of a gravitation towards any of his films. I mean, he obviously. I'm looking at his filmography right now. He's had kind of like a varied
It's
career.
yeah, it's really interesting.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone every time he makes a film, and I think that's why I like it. Like, dude, Phantom Thread and Licorice Pizza, like, definitely not my thing, and I didn't see
Hmm.
them. But one battle after another, Boogie Nights, they're like There Will Be Blood, fantastic films, and they're all just like so wildly different in genre and tone from one another. It's
Mm.
interesting.
Yeah, but that the one that his most recent one, One Battle After Another, that one is on my list. I'm going to watch it. That one, I remember looking at the trailers and being like, "Oh, this is kind of interesting." So yeah, I'm definitely gonna visit that one now that it's actually on a streaming service right now. Um, but yeah, again, I'm gonna do this in kind of the order, but it was pretty tough trying to figure out which one I thought was actually better than the others. Anyways, so I'm just gonna put this one at the bottom because it has an open slot and I just watched it. Weapons, from Zach Krieger. We talked about Barbarian for an episode when this movie was coming out. I could kind of been putting it off watching it, but obviously I was still very interested in watching it after having seen Barbarian. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't really know what I just watched.
You know my feelings on the film already, and I've watched it 3 times, and I don't have, like, a deep analysis on it, but
I
I
think that's kind of where my issue is because we had such a good conversation about Barbarian, and I was kind of expecting
and
this.
by the way, not to cut you off, but the answers you get are not what you want. Like, the whole assault
Did we
rifle
get any
stuff.
answers?
Well, no, listen, so, like, the whole assault rifle stuff, someone asked Krieger in an interview what it was. He straight up said he has no clue. He just put it in the film, so it's whatever you want it to be. And to me, like, that makes me confused as an audience because it very much reads as a school shooting metaphor, but he's also gone on the record and said it wasn't in the moment when he put it in the script. But he's also told us that it's whatever we make it. So I'm really confused at how I should take the things, whether at face value or like not really at the same time.
I guess my problem with that is that it comes off like I understand wanting to keep things ambiguous and let the audience interpret things, but to me it sounds more like he's saying like this doesn't have any real meaning and I just put it in there for fun, which is not really how you want your filmmakers to make films. But all of that aside, I like the setup of the movie. I think my problem is that it never really feels like we're progressing towards anything because the movie has this weird, I forgot to say this at the beginning, but spoilers obviously for everything that we're going to talk about. But anyways, so the movie has this weird structure of like switching between perspectives, and I liked it at the start, but it quickly started to get on my nerves because it meant we were never really following one person, and I don't think it was utilized in a way of like recontextualizing stuff that we already knew. So every time we jump from like person to person, I didn't really feel like we were learning a lot of anything new about the story or the mystery until about like halfway through it. Um,
Well, I think part of the issue to that goes to I don't know why like people write this in scripts anymore. Personally, I don't think it ever truly works, but the idea of like chaptering your film. There's another movie I'm going to bring up later in this conversation that
mm,
also has chapters and it's a gripe in the film, but
mm.
I think for
I think
this
I might know
movie,
which one you're.
yeah, I know you know which film I'm talking
Is it a
about.
Netflix movie?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
then I
yeah,
do know what
yeah.
it is. That where, yeah,
This
that one.
the problem with this is the film just always feels like the second it gets interesting, it just instantly quits and then starts from the beginning again
Yeah.
to tell a part of the story that doesn't feel very like
Interesting.
important.
Yeah.
Like some
Well,
of them do and some of them don't.
it gets worse by the end when you get to like the climax of the movie, I guess. And the things that you thought were important s- end up not being important. Like I get establishing the relationship that she has with Paul, but then all of his stuff with like the drug dude and his family life end up meaning nothing by the end because he just dies. She kills him because he's like under that whatever voodoo stuff. And that's another thing. Like I kind of wish we had gotten more of an explanation behind like why Gladys was doing what she was doing. I
It
I
doesn't
just
feel like there's much of a resolution.
yeah. I just and it doesn't help that the kid narrator kind of just sums up the what I feel should have been an epilogue to the movie in just the narration. I thought I don't know, I just thought that was kind of a letdown and underwhelming, and I'm not really sure why there's a narrator because on top of us constantly switching perspectives, we've got like this background voice, going on at the beginning and the end, and I don't know, it just kind of felt disjointed to me, and I there's definitely good tension and mystery. I just don't think that any of the quote unquote answers that we get are worth having gone through all of that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I understand, and like I feel like that's like been part of my issues because there's so many. I like all the performances,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it feels like the editing and the structure muddles a lot of it down
Mhm.
because it just constantly like is like cock teasing me almost like you know what I mean,
Yeah, no, no, no,
like
it's
trying to give you
100%.
blue balls and it,
Yeah.
and, like, I don't mind that in a sense, like, I thought Josh Brolin's story was good, and I thought it added something because of his relationship to, like, one of the students, and I really very like, enjoyed the scene of, like, him going through that dream outside of like, the
The
gun stuff,
yeah.
but, like, when he does, like, that confessional bit on, like, his with his son, but then I feel like the film kinda just drops that bit bit of character to the father, and then it just zooms right to you know what he hugs him, and the old aunt grandmother lady just dies, and like it just like introduces a bunch of story and threads, but never concludes or like resolves much of them.
And I'm not saying that I wanted like a complete comprehensive breakdown of like what all of it means or anything, because one of the things that I really like about Barbarian is that you can revisit it and find new nuggets of details and stuff that add to your viewing experience without it like fully explaining things. It's just I was kind of missing that in this, in the way that the storyline is kind of jumbled of us like jumping back and forth through time. And yeah, I don't know, I do feel like the movie kind of gets lost in its own mystery and prioritizes like the mystery part over like the character journeys, because when the movie first started and a lot of the trailers focus on like the conundrum of Julia Garner is her name,
Yeah,
Justine, the character's name, sorry, Justine. She she's put under this spotlight and microscope, even though she has no idea what's going on. And then like the issue with like the parents and stuff, I thought that was going to be like the main conflict of the story aside from the kids being missing, and then it wasn't, and that kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
and part of I think my conflict with the characters and I think the way they interact with each other is I don't like many of them. And
The characters.
I have like trouble connecting outside of Julia Gardner's character and
Josh Brolin's.
Josh Brolin. And even then, I feel like I lose my sympathy for them around halfway through because it feels like the characters all just kind of push aside their differences pretty quick and easily around halfway through and then just start working with each other, which is fine. But because of the structure, it just feels so like in terms of where it takes place in the story, I understand it. But the structure just makes it feel so jarring because you're not witnessing it in the same time aspect as the characters.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I don't know. I just feel like there was a better way to tell the story without making it like so frustrating in terms of the structure and pace. And just, by the end of it, I'm thinking back and I'm just being like, so a lot of that was a waste of time because it stopped being important after like 5 minutes when it switched back perspectives. And yeah, I don't know. Anyways, we should
Yeah, like
probably, yeah, we talk,
yeah.
yeah, I just, that one was fresh in my mind and I really didn't have a different movie that I felt too strongly about putting on this list. I think it's an interesting movie. It's just kind of by the end, I don't know, it just kind of feels a little flat. But anyways, go
We're
ahead
doing
and
like the ones we liked, right?
yeah.
All right, this is one I'm almost positive you didn't see. I'm trying to do that so because I know like what I feel like you're gonna say based off like what we've both seen. Because
Mm,
there's a few, so I'm gonna try and mix it up a little bit.
okay.
I think you might be able to stream it. I think it's only on Apple TV or you could rent it. I'm not sure, but it's F1.
Oh yeah,
Eh,
yeah, yeah. It's on
Um,
Apple. Yeah.
absolutely fantastic film this year. It's essentially just like Top Gun, just racing. And there's not a better way to put it. The only like negative I have towards the film is it just kind of pointlessly adds a love subplot in there with Rebecca Ferguson. And I'll be honest, Rebecca Ferguson and Brad Pitt didn't really have too much chemistry, and their relationship didn't like. If you want to imagine a
I don't think she's in
stereotypical,
this movie.
yeah, no, F1, Rebecca
I think you're
Ferguson.
mixing up the actresses.
Oh, Carrie Condon. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry.
No,
I
no, no, no,
did.
no. I just
Yeah,
wanted
no, you're right.
to,
Sorry, I meant Carrie
yeah.
Condon. They always look so similar.
No, they do kind of look similar. Yeah.
That I do it all the time, by the way, when I'm talking about this film in particular with people. But I just don't feel like Carrie Condon and Brad Pitt have too much like chemistry in this movie. But everything else is so good. Like all the acting is really good. The stakes are really good. Dude, some of the best driving sequences I've ever seen put to film. The editing is fantastic. I don't really think I have to say too much. I feel like a lot of people did see it. It made a lot of money in the box office. It made
Yeah.
like 400 or 500, I think, million before they put it like on Apple TV or like being able to rent it. But yeah, I'll keep it at that because I just think you should go see it. It's a fantastic film and like one of my favorites this year. It's like I said, a blockbuster. Sit down, eat some food. You don't have to worry about the plot too much because it's the dude's falling in love with the woman while he's trying to save his career and helping a new kid.
Yeah.
It's as simple as I feel like it gets in terms of story.
Mm. Yeah, this one's also on my list. If I had had more time, I probably would have watched this one. I heard a lot of great things about it. I think I do remember you telling me you didn't like the love or the romance subplot. But I mean, I really liked Top Gun Maverick, and Tron Legacy is also a favorite of mine.
That's right.
Um,
We love. I always forget he did, bro.
Joseph Kaczynski,
Yeah, dude, it's just so weird that he did Tron Legacy just and then all of a sudden he's doing all these like
big budget.
Hollywood films,
Yeah,
like not Disney Hollywood films, but like pure I hate to say like pure cinema, but like that's what it kind of feels like.
yeah. I mean, it definitely like I kind of got the vibe from both having seen Top Gun Maverick and from seeing the trailers for F1 that it kind of does have like an old style or old school Hollywood feel to it. And obviously, another thing is I'm kind of intrigued by the way that they shot F1, and that also goes into what you were talking about with like the editing of just them painstakingly going through so much footage from like real F1 races to make it all like somehow be cohesive. I think is a feat in and of itself.
No, yeah, it's really impressive, and you could see all of it put to screen.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna watch that one.
All right, give us the next one, Bucko.
All right, this one we're getting into the stuff that I don't really have a lot to say about. Like weapons was kind of a detour, but my number 9 spot is Fantastic Four: First Steps. I don't think it's a great movie, but um, it was good enough, and obviously I didn't really watch anything else that I thought was that much better, so it's on this list. Um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I liked the dynamic between most of the characters. I thought the stakes were really good, and yeah, you can kind of tell that there's stuff that's like kind of missing from the movie, just in terms of them taking stuff out for runtime and whatnot. But it didn't bug me too much. I haven't seen it since I saw it in theaters, but I remember liking it enough of being like, oh, this is pretty good, and I'm excited to see what they do with them in the future. Hopefully, Marvel doesn't fuck it up, but you know, I don't know. We're getting Chris Evans back, so who fucking knows at this point?
Yeah, I think I gave Fantastic Four 4 out of 5 stars.
That's what I
Like,
gave it.
I like this is a film I think about, and then I think about the public's perception of it, and then it makes me think if I'm like an insufficient like movie viewer now, because I feel like the way other people view this movie compared to like me is like I agree with the criticisms of the film. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Pedro as Mr. Fantastic. And yeah, the relationships aren't the most defined, I think, by the end. Like, I was shocked about how Sue centric the film became, which I don't mind. I love Vanessa Kirby. So,
Hey,
you know,
another
dude,
blonde,
no, bro, dirty blonde.
another blonde.
Dirty blonde. But I don't know. The visual effects are fantastic. Galactus was such a fun villain from
Oh
the
yeah.
second to third act that I don't know. Like, I like the idea of the family kind of being against the public and the public kind of telling them to sacrifice their child. I thought that was a really interesting concept, and that's one of the parts where I struggle with. I don't really think they did much with that idea because I think there's something deep within there about giving up your all powerful child to this eternal being to save everyone. But it's just like, I don't know. Like, I don't really trust Galactus not to kill everyone. So I don't know why anyone just didn't make that argument. But
Mm.
I don't know. It's definitely one of the better Marvel films in the last few years
No,
too.
yeah, yeah.
Which is why I find it shocking that I think people are super hypercritical about it. I feel, and I think that's coming from me. You
No,
know,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I think the problem is that you either really liked this movie or you really didn't. And I think you and me are kind of in between. We're just like we recognize some of its flaws, but still had a good enough time. And I don't know. I like the style of this over some of the more recent Marvel films. Like I don't know. It just reminds me of those early Marvel days where every film kind of had its own thing going for it. I think the production design is really good in this movie. The visual effects are obviously much better than some of the more recent stuff we've been getting. And I don't know. I got attached to the family members, the main cast, and yeah, I mean Ralph Ineson. I loved him in Nosferatu as well, and he makes a really good villain in this. I'm glad we moved away from this kind of more silly superhero style of the first two Fantastic Four movies, and then we're gonna believe me, we're gonna talk about Fant Four Stick a little later, so I'll save that. But yeah,
yeah. Um, I'm debating on what film I want to mention next. I guess I'll go a little bit more Hollywoody, but I know me and you we spoke about this film earlier in the year, so I don't think we'll say too much about it. But Final Destination Bloodlines is on this list for me. I think I've watched it about 4 times this year, just because I just have so much fun with the Final Destination films, and this just kind of feels like it's going back to what made them so good, just with their own spin. Like, I didn't think I was gonna like the concept of like the vision being someone else in the past, and like it being their family member who also witnesses it. I didn't know, like, I didn't think they could make it work. It seemed like a complex like plot to write for these type of films, I felt.
Mm,
So I think they made it work for what it's worth. And I thought they were able to like make it in timeline enough to where it kept it interesting, that made you be like, damn, where does this take place? Like, does everyone that's like ever been involved with all the past events like connect back to this bloodline? Like, I like how they didn't give a definitive answer, but there's room to like play with
interpret,
it,
yeah.
And it always ends like the same movie. It doesn't matter who it is, too. They all fucking die, and it's just in glorious, glorious manner.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Fantastic. Sorry, fantastic. Jesus fucking Christ. Final Destination. Sorry, weapons really got to me, guys. Final Destination Bloodlines also on my list, although I placed it a lot higher in my ranking. So, but I guess I'll just get it out the way now. Yeah, I really liked this film. I thought it's easily one of the most entertaining films that I saw this year, and I'm so bummed that I didn't go and see it. I know we talked about it in the podcast, but I wasn't super excited. Obviously, I wasn't really familiar with the series before this year. But I remember just looking at the trailers and I was like, this looks interesting, but there were things that I was just like, I don't understand how that's going to work. The subtitle kind of was off to me, and just the way that the it looked visually in the trailers. Um, but man, when I got around to it, what a fantastic movie. Like, just a great horror romp. I don't know if that's the right word. It's unlike any other horror film that I think came out this year, and I'm really glad that Final Destination is like still going strong.
Yeah, and they're making another one too.
Yeah.
So I think it's with the same people who made this one. So it
Yeah, I
makes me
hope
more
so.
excited.
Yeah, I'm genuinely excited to see the future of this franchise going forward. All right, going on to my next one. I don't think you've seen this one, but it's called Nausha 2. It's a Chinese animated film that came out recently. There was an A24 dub, like English dub of the movie that also got released in theaters, and it didn't do very well. That's the version that I saw. I watched it with my family, and I don't normally gravitate towards English dubs anymore of foreign films because most of the time they're not very good. And I kind of felt a similar way about this movie. Have you heard of it? The
No.
movie? Okay. Yeah, it's a sequel to a film. The first one's on Netflix. It's based off of a pretty famous and popular Chinese mythology story. But yeah, I thought this one was also really entertaining. I like the animation style. It obviously has a bigger budget than the first one. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say about it. I did like the story. It was a lot more simplified than the first one, I want to say, and I really got invested in a lot of the action set pieces that were going on. But yeah.
I agree. I agree. Even though I didn't see it, I agree. I guess I'll keep in theme with a film that I know you haven't seen. I think it came out back in February, but now that we're talking about it in December, I have a complicated history with it. But it's The Monkey by Osgood Perkins that came
Oh,
out
I
this
forgot about
year.
that one. I have to watch that one.
Has Theo James. For anyone who doesn't
Yeah.
know, he played. Damn, bro. I don't know if that. You know what? I'll keep it there. But Theo James is in it.
Well, he plays
Um,
twins, right? That's what
yeah,
you were
I
gonna
wasn't
say.
sure if people knew that, so I was gonna keep that because like they kind of create like it being a twist in the film. It's weird.
It is.
Um,
I thought it was
I
obvious from the trailers.
Bro, just watch the fucking film. God damn it, Leo. I think it's really fun and interesting with its concept.
Mm,
I just think the third act is really fucking boring.
mm,
And that's what I think my ultimate issue with it is it really takes me in with those first two acts, and then it's just kind of underwhelming. Like I hate to be that person and say like nothing happens, but really like nothing happens. And like without getting into too much detail, it's just a bunch of back and forth that doesn't matter because they're talking about events and people that you have no idea who they are outside of who these characters told you they were, and you don't really get any flashbacks outside of one flashback of their mom. Like their mom plays a role, a heavy role, but like, and sorry, they also have a flashback of their father in the film. But yeah, I'll just keep it at that because I think it's interesting. But yeah, I like the concept. It's unique and interesting for today's day and age, which is why I at least recommend it.
mm. Yeah, I remember there was quite a bit of buzz. This movie came out off the heels of Longlegs. I need to watch both of those.
I think
Um,
Longlegs is significantly better.
yeah, I remember you telling me when you went and saw it. But I'm interested to watch them. My aunt and sister watched it, and they said they didn't really like it. The monkey, I mean, but I'm still very intrigued to see both of those movies.
Yeah, it's a dark comedy, but like it's very blunt humor, you know? Like
Mhm.
the humor is the fact that like he's screaming to the person that he knows is about to die and them not like knowing, and they
Yeah,
just like die in the most ridiculous way possible, you
kind
know?
of like Final Destination.
Yeah, yes, but like yeah, exactly like Final Destination. I shit you not. In the movie, I had to think about it for a second. I think there's like a wind effect that goes through before something happens that
Oh
like
no, not the
indicates there's
wind.
yeah, it's the wind, bro.
The
It's always the
greatest
fucking wind.
villain
It's
of
always the
all
wind.
horror.
It's always the wind.
That's funny. All right. So my next one is this is one you did see, and I know your sort of feelings on it. Mickey 17, the new Bong Joon Ho movie
You're saying
starring.
wait, hold up. You saying you like this movie?
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Oh,
A Bong Joon Ho movie starring Robert Pattinson in a dual role, same as the monkey, I guess. I don't know. I just thought this was really fresh and inventive. Obviously, it's based on a book. I haven't read the book, but I don't know. I kind of enjoy. I enjoy the way that Bong Joon Ho writes his satire. I think this continues a really good trend from Parasite. I don't think it's not as good as Parasite, but I enjoyed the story, and obviously Robert Pattinson puts in like just a ridiculously good performance as all the different versions of the character. Um, it kind of the ending is a little off if I'm being honest, but it's whatever. I enjoyed most of the movie. It's funny. Um, and yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's. Yeah, I know
I,
you disagree. Just get into it.
no. It's just like I don't think Robert Pattinson was bad. I just don't know what they were going for with like his character. Like I understand it, like that kind of nerdy, like squirmy, can't
Kind of like the
stand up for
lovable idiot.
yeah, lovable idiot, but like not really. He's kind of seems a little dirty, you know what I mean? Like
Mm,
he seems like he picks his nose and then like shoves it up his ass or something. I just found him to be way too whiny for me to ever like invest and care too much in him. And I think that was my base issue is because I never for some reason none of the relationships in this movie I'm trying to remember what the name of his love interest was because I will say I was on an airplane when I watched this movie. So I will add that pre-note, but I forgot the actress and character's name that played like
Nasha. That's
Nasha. Yeah,
the character.
Nasha. Like there was something about Nasha's character that I found extremely annoying. How they wrote her to be this kind of manipulative person, and like I get it's for the character, but like I don't know, like I didn't like Mickey fucking like trying to go so head over heels for this woman that so obviously was using him. And I get that's like to his character that he's just so
Using
oblivious to
him
like
how?
what?
Are you talking about the right character?
Yeah, Nasha, the black one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was she manipulative though?
I'm saying I found her to be manipulative.
Oh,
Like
okay.
the way she came off to me as her character, that I found her to like be manipulative in the way like she was acting.
Mm.
I'm not saying like that's what happened in the story.
Oh,
To
okay, I see what you're
to
saying.
me, like I don't feel like a lot of that matched what the story was doing. And I get it goes to what your point is, like the satire of it all. I
Mhm.
think I just found the satire in this to be extremely annoying and too in my face. That
Mm.
that
Yeah.
not in the same way that like the other movies do it, like in Snowpiercer and
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
No, yeah, I agree with you. I think it can be jarring for some people, watching it and just being like, "I don't know what this is," or it is it I don't wanna say that it's unsubtle, but I can understand how it can come off that way with certain aspects, because obviously everyone's playing it over the top, but I think it works in the way that the world is set up in the movie. But no, yeah, I understand what you're saying,
I don't.
in how
It's
the
just
characters are portrayed.
it's just weird for me to find Mark Ruffalo and Tony Collette like as villains in this film the way that they're acting. Like, you know
Mm,
what I mean? Like I never find them to be a true threat in the film because they're the big, rich, and powerful people, you know? And like I don't know, like I didn't find the conflict with Stephen Young to be very much anything. Like honestly, I think the movie could have done without. Like it's only really there so Stephen Young can turn on him at the end. But yet again, it goes to like I don't know why he keeps going to like Stephen Young as like a friend when Stephen Young I feel like just clearly doesn't like him as a person and is just clearly using him again. So and so like that's the thing is like I it's hard for me to connect to a character that just keeps making all of these awfully stupid decisions left and right that I'm like, dude, you're lucky you have 17 lives. I'm shocked you made it through the first fucking 30 on Earth. Like,
yeah. I mean, I think that was kinda what I enjoyed about it was just, um obviously, I think his character is meant to be very gullible, and a part of his journey is sort of realizing how messed up everything is and how messed up everyone treats him, aside from probably, like, Nasha, I would say. Um, but I don't know. And again, I wanna stress most of these movies I've only seen once, and I do need to return to them at some point. Um, but from my and I saw this when it came out as well, so it's been a while. So maybe I'm not remembering things exactly correctly, but I don't know. I remember walking out of the theater and being like, "Oh, that was pretty good."
oh no,
Um,
I just remember Mickey 17 when they have the threesome with the two Mickeys and Nasha. She's just clearly so much more interested in the bad boy version of him that
oh,
to me it just reads that she's just kind of with him for the sex and like she just likes that being in the situation that they're given. And
mm,
then the new Mickey comes in and that's much more of the personality type that she was involved with back on Earth. Like this is all the way I took it. Like I'm not saying this is what like Bong Joon or whatever this is the way they wanted it to go, but like I watched that scene. I'm like, dude, stop simping over a girl who clearly would take a different version of you over the original version she originally says she liked. Like
yeah,
it's just so weird to me.
yeah,
Uh, I'm assuming you have one more pick, right?
yeah. It's your turn.
I'm just debating because this is where I'm just like, all right, I guess yeah, I do have one more. I forgot Frankenstein.
That okay? That's good because that was also my next one.
Yeah, because I'm like I'm like Frankenstein is kind of the last one that like outside of maybe Superman, I feel like you might bring that up. Who
That
knows?
one's also my next one.
Yeah, yeah. But so I'll start with Frankenstein, and then you can start with Superman, since those will be like our last two like good ones, I guess, that aren't in like our disappointing, like not so great list. Um, I loved Frankenstein. A little long, and I think it stays its welcome, not in terms of the runtime, but I think the message it's trying to tell, I think it goes on a little too long and meanders. But I think this is one of Guillermo's like best films in a while. What was that last one he made with Bradley Cooper? That's a remake that I'm just like
Oh,
blanking on the
Nightmare
name of
Alley.
it.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, I love Nightmare Alley. I thought it was good. His Pinocchio film was okay. It was very Guillermo, but like Pinocchio as a story, just like I don't care about. So
Mm.
I think it's less him. But like this is kind of him coming back. I feel like true to form. This feels like very early 2000s Guillermo del Toro with some beautiful scenery, gorgeous sets, some fantastic acting, and he does a really good job at being able to portray the beauty in the ugly. And I really liked it about this film in particular. I will say I'm not the biggest fan of the monster's design in this movie. I think it looks a little too Prometheus-y.
Mm.
I wish it was a little bit more distinct, but I think Jacob Elordi does enough
Oh,
with the
yeah.
character and the performance that I kind of overlooked that and was just like kind of enthralled, because he gives such a good physical performance throughout the film that I was just like, damn, bro, you really have me on the edge of my seat, just screaming and saying, "Dad, Papa," and I'm like, oh, okay, bro, go off.
Yeah, no, I agree. Frankenstein, I was really excited for that movie when it was coming out. I know you and me kind of had like uh, not a long conversation about this movie, but sort of just like our initial thoughts after I saw it. Um, I still have those same criticisms about like some of the side characters and maybe we talked a little bit about the structure. I definitely think like going back to what you were saying earlier with weapons, I think this one it's more justified like the chaptering of the movie because it feels like we get more of a complete view on their different perspectives of the story by the end than it really did with weapons. But yeah, the standout is definitely Jacob Elordi. I don't I don't hate Oscar Isaac's performance, but I think as the titular Frankenstein, he kind of does get blown out of the water by Jacob, like just how good Jacob Elordi's performance in this movie is. And I'm not super familiar with Elordi's like body of work either. I've never seen Euphoria. I've never seen those Netflix movies that he did.
The Kissing
Um,
Booth, bro, my favorite
yeah.
Netflix film.
But yeah, I like Mia Goth in this movie. I just kind of wish there was more to her character than what we got. And I'm not familiar with the book that it's based on either, so I don't know if that's how it is portrayed in the book. I don't know if she's like a character in the book.
She is a character, but from what I can recall, just because I was listening to people talk about it,
Mm.
there isn't like this whole convoluted love triangle.
Okay, yeah,
Because that's my
that's
biggest issue. Is like, bro, she's
is it
like
really a love
fucking.
triangle? Because there's like three dudes
Yeah,
that
okay,
are
it's a love
fawning over
square.
her.
It's a love square.
Yeah,
Sorry, love square. That's a good point.
I just I like the way that she's portrayed by like in terms of a performance. It just the writing kind of lets it down because she pops in and out of the story, and I don't know what purpose she serves other than to distract Frankenstein from what he's doing. And yeah,
Well,
I
her
don't know.
switch too is kind of confusing because to me, she's just like so obviously flirtatious and like giving me the fuck me eyes to him. And then she's just like, yeah, no, fuck you. Why would I ever want to be with you? And in
Mm.
that moment, I'm like, what, bro? What do you mean? The whole like last hour, you like ditched his brother to come out here so you guys can go on like a picnic or something. You guys literally talked about being in a relationship. So like the love uh square is definitely I think the weakest angle of the film.
Yeah, no, I agree. But I think by the end, Most of it comes together, and I really like the look of this movie as well. I saw like people were complaining about the way this movie looked, and I kind of don't understand why. Like nothing ever jumped out at me of like looking bad. Like yeah, the design of Frankenstein's monster isn't. I wouldn't say it's the best or my favorite either. But I mean, there was nothing in the movie that I was like, "Oh, that looks bad." Like they shouldn't have done it that way, or they it needed more time to, be polished in post or whatever. There wasn't anything about that. I like the look and the style of the movie. I just think maybe the writing could have used a little bit more work in certain sections, like towards the middle of the movie.
Definitely could have been
Um,
tighter.
yeah, but I mean, yeah, I thought it was a good movie. It's not my favorite Guillermo del Toro movie, but I enjoyed it enough to include it on this list, and I'm eager to return to it over some of the other ones that we just talked about. Yeah. All right. So my sixth, no, sorry, fifth placement is Superman, the revamp of the DC universe. Let's say. Um, yeah, I don't know. I thought this one was really good. I think because this came out sort of around the same time as Fantastic Four: First Steps, and I remember you and me both kind of saying like they're kind of similar in quality. I would say overall, I kind of preferred the style of Superman. I just think James Gunn has a really good rap on just his version of a superhero movie, and I liked how this was similar and different to like his Marvel films. But I just got really invested in the characters in this movie, and I think all of them are like really solid. Minus a couple. We talked about it on the podcast. We don't need to get into the nitty gritty of it, but
No, yeah, I agree. I liked the film for what it was. It's kind of exactly what I was expecting because I feel like he was damned if he did, damned if he didn't when it came
yeah,
to how he wanted to introduce Superman, whether it's the way he did it or just doing a total origin story again. I like the way he did it. I don't need all that early mumbo jumbo. Just put me in the action. And I think the world is a lot that he tries to open up, but I don't think he gets too messy and muddled in its own ideas or its own concepts
yeah,
that I think people are like saying it does. But I enjoyed it.
yeah,
It,
yeah.
it makes it makes me excited to see what's like actually coming next.
Yeah, yeah. I do think obviously as the time of recording, Supergirl has not been released yet, and but we've gotten like a first look through a teaser trailer, and like it looks good. I'm just curious about some of the things that were set up in Superman revolving around her. We talked a little bit about the twist reveal of Superman's parents. I'm holding off to see
They're gonna
how
go
they
back on it,
use
bro.
that. I really hope they don't, and we talked about that as well. I don't want to get too deep into that, but those are kind of like the loose threads of Superman that I'm waiting to see how they involve that going forward. But yeah, I mean, I really liked the story. I thought the conflict, like both the overall conflict and the interpersonal conflict, was really good. I really liked the depiction of Lois in this movie. We talked about this as well. We were watching all of the Superman movies. Lois has never been my favorite character in any of these like superhero movies. Um, she's kind of grown on me a little bit. The Margot Kidder version has kind of grown on me a little bit, but I still even have issues with that. I think this is like one of the strongest portrayals of that character that we've gotten, and likewise, I really, really liked David Corenswet as Superman. Just amazing casting, and I'm super excited to see him come back in the role.
Yeah, I'm super curious to see what happens with this whole Netflix thing. So
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to get too hampered by talking about it's just because we touched on it briefly on our Knives Out video, but I this is another one. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. I don't think this is just a lose lose situation for everyone involved except for Netflix. I want to say Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'm really hoping that it doesn't affect. I don't think it'll affect it as much as like if Paramount had actually bought Warner Brothers. But who's to say that it still doesn't affect it in like a really consequential way? Um, but yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree.
All right. Yeah, your go ahead for.
Are we doing? Wait, which one? List are we doing now?
We're still on
We
the
do.
same list.
Oh, we're still doing like our top tens of the year.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought we were each doing five each for a top 10. Because like low key, I'll
Mm,
be honest, I don't really think there was that many films to put like a top 10 together. Like a lot of the next films,
yeah.
I'm
I mean,
gonna
we can
say
just do a
are
speed
kind of
run of
yeah.
our next.
I can just do like some honorable mentions of stuff that I enjoyed that I don't really think meet the list though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I like that Apple TV film, The Gorge, that came out this year. It
Haven't
was
seen that one yet.
solid. You, I know people would kill us if we didn't talk about Sinners at some point.
Let's save that because
Um,
that one is on my list.
yeah, I figured it was. Thunderbolts, I thought was a fun time, but I thought Fantastic Four was a better film, honestly. What's just another quick one that I can say? Wake Up Dead Man. I'll throw there like an honorable mention. I think the more I've sat on it, the more I think I've kind of enjoyed it. I got to go back to it now
Mm.
after a while. And then there's a film called Hard Eyes that came out this year.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Not like a deeply enthralling love film, but I thought it was a fun, quirky, like holiday horror slasher with
Nice.
a cool like killer mask. So and some gory kills.
Is that it? Is that all for you?
Yeah, just
Okay.
those. Yeah.
Okay. So my next four, I had Thunderbolts right above Superman. This is where it really gets iffy. Again, these are all kind of on the same level for me. It's really like a marginal difference on which one I actually think is better than the others. As much as I enjoyed Superman, it is a little bit. I don't want to say overstuffed, but there's a lot going on, and I think Thunderbolts it's kept a little simpler. Obviously, we didn't do this on the podcast, but you and me talked about like Bucky Barnes and that whole situation of him being involved is hit or miss. But I really liked the other characters, and obviously seeing Florence Pugh back as Yelena is always just she's great in the movie. I really liked the introduction of Bob as well. I just found myself getting really invested in their individual character journeys and them coming together as a team. It reminded me a lot of when the Avengers first got together and that feeling, although the approach is a lot different, and I really enjoyed that. And obviously, I just think this one has a lot more going for it in terms of its themes over a lot of the other ones that we talked about. In terms of like the superhero movies. But yeah, I'm excited to see more of the Thunderbolts or the new Avengers, I should say. Sorry.
Fuck Marvel. I can't with that, dude. I'm not doing that.
But next on my list at number 3 is a movie that I know you didn't see and you probably never will. But K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yep.
I think this is one of the few Netflix movies aside from Frankenstein that I really enjoyed or was even interested in watching. I remember when I saw the trailer, I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." I don't think you know this about me, but K-pop is I'm not like a super fan of K-pop, but it did play an integral role in kind of my later like teenage years and stuff like that.
I mean, bro, that's not
Um,
like that crazy. I grew up in New York. A lot of people in high school when I was there listened to K-pop a shit
okay,
ton.
well,
So I
when
don't think it's like out there of like a thing for the people to have listened to like during that
well,
time.
obviously nowadays it's a lot more in like the spotlight, but I just when I was in middle school going into high school, I I don't know. I never heard that much people talking about it. Obviously, it had like I don't know. I just felt like it was more of a niche, but we don't need to get into that. I just mean that I was interested in watching this because of that, and I liked what they did with the story. I really liked the lead, the protagonist. there is like a kind of romance subplot that I think could have been better, but overall I liked a lot of the character dynamics. It's funny, it's, engaging, and I think by the end I found it kind of inspiring, and I just think it's a really good like kids film and follow up from Sony Animation Studios from like the Into the Spider-Verse movies. But yeah, we talked about Final Destination Bloodlines. That was my number 2. We're not going to get back into that. All right, here's the one. I watched this last night, Sinners. I have been waiting to watch it, and I finally got a fire under my ass to watch it. I I've been struggling with my rating because I don't know if I want to say it's a 4.5 or just a 4. I definitely think it's better, like better made than all of the other ones on this list. But I'm just I definitely need to rewatch it. It wasn't what I expected, even knowing a lot of about it, having been spoiled by Instagram and everything. But I'm curious to what you thought about it.
I need to see it again because it's a lot for one viewing, and that's all
Yeah,
I've ever seen it. So that I'm just like prefacing that before I say anything because I don't know how to feel. I give it a 3 out of 5. Like I liked all of it. The acting's phenomenal. The cinematography is phenomenal, but a lot of my stuff comes down to like the writing and the pacing and the character work individually that I need to go back and really dive like into because there was a lot there that I felt like I missed
yeah,
because there's for me it felt like a lot of characters with a lot of relationships trying to be trying to be defined in 2.5 hours is a lot, but I don't think it was enough for the amount of characters this movie was trying to like introduce us to and introduce us to all of their relationships because once you like start the movie you're in the middle of all their relationships. The only one I think you get a real good sense of are two actually is the two brothers. And I forgot which brother is the one that is like in the relationship with Haley Steinfeld.
Stack.
Um, Stack, that's right. But at the same time, I think it has one of the most emotionally rich endings that I've seen this year. And
Yeah,
that's why I feel like I'm kind of torn because I really love the ending of the movie. And it's
yeah,
not something that I was expecting at the same time because though I don't think the film was shown properly. I feel like it was advertised as a vampire film when it's definitely not that. And I think that's what kind of took me by surprise is because for a year and a half leading up to it, I was told this is going to be a vampire film. All the trailers are vampire showing vampires doing vampire things of them keeping vampires out. Like, and I will say I am one of those people. I think the woman who let the vampires in is probably the world's biggest idiot. And I know that was like a thing online that people got into. And I'm like,
mm,
all right, you guys can sit there and act stupid by yourselves. I'll sit here and be like right in my own opinion. No, I'm not. But I definitely thought that was like a forced narrative point because it felt like an out of character moment for me. Like, I understand why she would do it, but her character felt smarter than that. And
mm,
that's why I was like kind of like disappointed, but also like not in the character, but more so that this is where the writing kind of got a little lazy for me is like when the
yeah,
plot needed it to kind of be a little inventive. I felt because it felt like Ryan Coogler might have wrote himself into a corner a
no,
little
yeah, yeah,
bit, and so that's why I feel like I'm conflicted. And then once the vampires do enter, it just becomes like everyone just dies. Like you don't really get a chance, I think, to deal with some of the characters' deaths that you've come to like learn throughout the film because it needs to like start wrapping up right away. But on the other hand, I think a lot of the thematically rich stuff with the culture, where we came from, um,
Their place
black
in
culture,
society.
black, yeah, back in what was it, the 40s, right?
1932.
1932.
Yeah.
And so I thought all of that was great, and that's why like I'm just kind of torn, and I feel like I just really need to go back to it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. Those are pretty much the same issues I had. I do think going into the third act, it kind of feels a bit rushed. As much as I do like the ending, I think I was kind of expecting it to have like, it feels weird saying this because it kind of does have a slow pace up until like the midway point where, the vampire stuff is revealed to the main cast of characters. I just kind of felt like once the vampire stuff started happening, things also started picking up in in terms of like its progression. But I mean that in kind of a negative way. It felt like we didn't have much time to sit on it, and like a lot of it was kind of just explained away by like weird voodoo stuff. And I don't think we as an audience or the characters were allowed to kind of like sit on like what was happening very much. And I think there was like a missed opportunity in terms of like tension of us not knowing if any of the other characters are vampires. And I don't know. I just felt like I felt like it could have done more with the whole vampire side and them not being able to get in and killing them off one by one, only for once they do get in, most of them to die right away. I don't know if you noticed this, but something that I was confused about was when they do come in, I could have swore I saw two nameless, faceless people get bit. And I remember sitting back and being like, "Oh, who was that?" And then the camera revealed that the all of the like the characters that were still stuck in the mill were fine. And that kind of confused me, but I didn't have enough time to go back and rewatch it, so I don't know if that was just something that I missed or something, or I'm
Yeah,
misunderstanding.
that's how I feel about with the film in general, you know?
Yeah, but I think by the end, like the ending really made me feel conflicted because I thought it was really good and I couldn't reconcile with some of this earlier stuff that I kind of felt missed the mark a little bit. Um, but I do agree. I think all the performances are really solid. I liked a lot of the character dynamics. I think Remick is an interesting villain. I don't think I was as sold on the vampire stuff as I kind of wanted to be because I love a good vampire movie. And I kind of feel like I had the opposite problem with the marketing because I remember the first couple of trailers focused more on like the dramatic period piece elements of the movie, and I kind of didn't get a good sense of what the conflict was. And I was like, "Oh, this is a Ryan Coogler movie. It's got Michael B. Jordan," but I didn't understand what the story was. And then after the movie came out, the marketing started, and like people were becoming more aware of like the vampire aspects. People started talking more about it, and the marketing switched to like, "Oh, this is a horror movie." And that was when I started getting interested in the movie because I was like, "Oh, it's a horror movie. It's not like a period drama or anything." And so, yeah, I don't know. I just don't really think this movie was marketed in a very good way.
No, I agree.
But yeah, so that rounds off our favorite movies that actually came in 2025. Obviously, we've been doing this for longer than I was expecting. I think we had more to say about this stuff than I thought. So we're gonna do quick stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
I just say let's just do our disappointing films and then wrap it up there. Like we'll just do 5 and 5
okay,
because
yeah,
I
no, yeah,
think
that
that'll
works
like,
for me.
take us through the
Yeah.
time. You want to start since I started the list first?
Sure. Are we doing like a back and forth again, or do you want me to just
Yeah,
list
let's
all
just
of
do
them?
back and
Okay.
forth.
So at number 5 on the worst movies that I saw in 2025, we're starting off really bad with Jurassic World Dominion.
Let's
Um,
go.
obviously, we these are all movies that we talked about on the podcast. I just want to say, I guess yeah, I don't know what else to say about this movie other than
Did we talk about this one on the podcast? I thought we talked about all the others but this one.
No, we talked about Dominion. Yeah. Remember we did all the original.
Oh yeah, I thought you said Rebirth. I'm sorry.
No, I haven't seen that one yet.
Okay.
No, yeah. Honestly, there's nothing in Rebirth that could make me think that it's worse than this movie. This is literally bottom of the barrel. Jurassic World Dominion is just an awful movie. I didn't really find any enjoyment out of it. It's way too long. There's too many characters. All of the storylines have nothing to do with each other. And then we obviously have just one of the most baffling retcons of trying to explain who the fuck this little girl is in the entire history of cinema. I'll never get over just thinking about the fact of how this woman gave birth to herself, and it will never not be funny.
Oh, dude, stop. No, that's just like it just made me I hate those. I hate the last 3 Jurassic Park movies. I'll just say that. Those last 3 are just dog water.
Yeah.
But to continue off Superman 3, that was a rough watch.
That was literally right on my list. That was number 6 right below.
Yeah. Dude, that was a rough watch. And this was like the first time I had fully seen it as well. And I was a Richard Pryor fan prior, get it, to before I'd seen this. But man, it really makes me criticize why he wanted to do it. I think it was because he wanted the car, but we'll never know. But God bless his soul for it. That's all I'll say, because it was not a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before on the podcast, I don't know why this is called a Superman movie, because it really has nothing to do with it. It is a Richard Pryor movie, and it's not a good one.
No, it is not.
All right, next up on mine at number 4 for the worst movies I saw in 2025 is Fan4stick. This is a movie that I had been actively avoiding watching, similarly with the last 2 Jurassic World movies. Obviously, I had heard it was really bad. I was not looking forward to watching it. And boy, when I started watching it, it was so much worse than I could have ever imagined. It is just, this has to be the most boring superhero movie I have ever seen in my entire life. Just the continuity with all the reshoot stuff is bad. The tone is inconsistent, and it all leads nowhere.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Fucking, you know what, a film that absolutely leads nowhere, that is part of my favorite franchise that I can't stand. I don't know if you hate it as much as I do, just because I used to remember when this movie came out, but The Final Destination, truly one of the worst. Wow, truly one of the worst fucking films of all time. Like, I don't know how else to put it. Like, it looks like visual shit. None of the
3D is awful.
The 3D is truly shit. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to be a rude person, but like, nothing went right for that movie, and I'll just keep it at that.
Yeah, this isn't on my above 5 part of the list, but it was on my list. It's not nearly as bad in my opinion as some of the other ones, but yeah, it's not very good. It's definitely the worst of the franchise, and I think everyone who was involved in making it should feel bad about what they made, because it is not good.
Bro, I'm sorry, but when you have a guy dying by getting his asshole sucked out, you just can never get me to take you seriously.
Yeah, I don't think any of the deaths were really that inventive. And it just all goes back to the opening. Like, that opening is so bland, and the characters are bland. Everything about this movie is just bland, and that is really just the worst offense you can have as a Final Destination movie.
That is also true.
So next up on my list was, or did you do yours as well for number 4?
No, it was your next.
Oh yeah, because we're just going. Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So next up on my list is Five Nights at Freddy's. I won't get too much into this because we literally just did our episode on it. It's I would say it's worse than Fan Four Stick. It's just so much more dumb for no reason. It's overly convoluted, and it's not scary either. I just didn't enjoy it.
I don't disagree. It's fucking bad.
So much so that I'm not looking forward to seeing the second one that just came out. And I didn't hear the second one was any better either. If anything, I've heard it was worse.
Honestly, I wouldn't doubt it. My next one I'd say is Godzilla versus Biollante.
Oh,
Absolutely, just like
a nothing.
probably the most boring films I've ever fucking watched. I'll be honest.
Which is crazy for a Godzilla movie too.
Yeah, absolutely nothing happens. The main like monster is like in the movie for 10 minutes and dies halfway like fucking through. And it's just like it's like save the world, save the planet. It like I'm just like, dude, shut up. You're not saying anything, please.
Yeah, I was really expecting more of the main conflict to be about the two monsters fighting, and then Biollante is kind of just like an afterthought. It's more of like a plot device than anything. And I don't know. The human characters were pretty boring, and I kind of didn't really understand what was going on most of the time. So, my next one is these are kind of a two-parter. But my second for worst was Halloween 2007.
Bro.
What an ass fucking movie. I am not familiar with the rest of the franchise. We've only seen, or like, I only saw the original for this podcast, and even that one was kind of a chore for me to get through. God, this movie was so much worse. I think I said it in my review. You never truly appreciate something until someone else ruins it. That was my review. Fuck Rob Zombie for that shit, man. I have yet to return to the original. I need to do so sometime soon because I need to wash my palate of this and its sequel. And believe me, we're going to get into its sequel shortly. But go ahead. What were your thoughts on your next one?
I'm debating because like I feel like we've watched like a few franchises that have like multiple bad films in them.
Oh, you're gonna talk about the one that I think you're gonna talk about?
I was debating if I like putting another Superman movie on there would be like out of the realm, or maybe I just do like Attack of the Clones, right? Because we spoke about that this year.
We did, yes. That's not the one I thought you were going with.
No. I'll do Attack of the Clones because I just came across it. Because I'm like, it's just like a throw up which one I kind of feel like shitting on right now, and it's like Attack of the Clones. I don't know. It look, bro. I literally want to throw up through my eyeballs every time I watch that movie. I also want to throw up anytime Anakin and Padme interact with each other because like they try to do like that super cutesy ditzy shit, but like it's so cringe and it hurts. It really hurts. I mean, at least they got lightsabers.
I think it's funny. We were just talking about in our last episode on Avatar about how the first one kind of looks like a game cutscene.
No, bro, don't insult a game cutscene like that.
Looking at your review for this movie, you were talking about how most of it looks like a PS2 graphic or something. Like this is a movie that like the CGI is super dated and
it's a little fuzzy.
Add anything to the movie. Nothing about this movie is really that good. And yeah, the easiest punching bag is just the weird predatory relationship that Anakin and Padme have for each other. I thought about putting that on my list, but there were other ones that I kind of felt were more worth talking about in terms of how much I disliked them. But yeah, no, the Attack of the Clones is easily my least favorite Star Wars movie, and I don't think it gets enough hate in comparison to like the Phantom Menace or even like the Last Jedi or whatever. But as boring as the Phantom Menace is, and as annoyingly frustrating as the Last Jedi is, I think this one is easily the dumbest in terms of plot.
Easily.
Yeah. All right, number one, Halloween 2 from 2009. This puts Halloween 2007 to shame, just in terms of how awful it is. I
Which
just
one
can't
you
with
cut
this
out? Sorry.
Halloween 2 from
Oh,
2009.
yeah.
I'm sorry, but this
Bro,
movie.
that's a far worse version of Halloween than that first one. I'm sorry.
No, and
Like,
you're right. But it's just
bro,
this has to
it's
be the worst.
literal puke put onto fucking like
No,
film.
100%. This is arguably one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Like out of every movie I've ever seen, and I'm not super harsh. Like you and me have talked about this on the podcast before. Like I'll have like slightly more generous things to say about movies that we both kind of don't like. This movie is just so awful
There's
for
nothing redeeming.
no reason. Honestly, it's so obvious while you're watching that this movie was made completely out of spite on Rob Zombie's, and I don't understand why either, because he didn't enjoy making this movie either.
Yeah,
So
it feels
I
like
don't
he was really the
understand.
only one who lost in this situation.
I just don't understand why he made himself miserable and us miserable in just having this exist. It
And then
really
not
does
earn any
nothing.
money. Like,
There's nothing about this movie doesn't do anything right. It just yeah, yeah, I
bro, there's like I said, I agree with like all the critiques of that first one, but at least there's something to watch in it. Whereas I feel like the second one is just downright like disturbing, and I'm not talking about from like a violent standpoint. You know,
it's just so mean for no reason.
it just hates everyone for absolutely no reason. At least in the first film, you had characters who would like break that trope a little bit, and
Mhm.
like the main character in the second half, like she is a happy teenager and the event is what changes her, but everyone is just like cursing each other out, calling each other dirty, filthy cunt, bitch ass horse slut, all while like they're standing in a room with like satanic cult writing 666 all over the wall. It's just like, bro, and it's just like the dimmest, darkest lighting. Like, I know it's mid 2000s, early 2000s, tens, but it's like, guys, you could afford a little bit more lighting. I'm sorry.
Oh no, yeah. Like I remember watching the first Halloween of the Rob Zombie ones and just being like, oh, yeah, this doesn't really look that good. But then I just put on it just feels like Rob Zombie looked back at the first one and it was like, how do I make this worse so that they don't make another one? And it's just not a way to make a movie. Like it's one thing for like when we were talking about with weapons for Zach Krieger to be like, oh yeah, I just kind of threw this in for the fun of it or whatever. But this just every decision that was made out of pure malice for the entire project. And it's just not fun
Yeah,
to watch.
you
Just
could
the
feel the
entirety
hate.
you really can. And I just don't understand why. Like, why make a movie that you don't like? I get going in with it with good intentions and having it all fall apart before your eyes, but that's just not the way this movie was made. And I hate it. I never ever want to watch these movies again, and I hate the fact that I had to watch them.
No, I agree. Like,
I'll never get that room in my brain back.
you will someday. I believe in it, brother. I
I don't
believe.
know. But yeah, is there anything or what was your number one? Did you say that? You haven't.
Honestly, I'm trying to like run through the list. I'm like looking through them, and I'm like, we spoke about a lot, but you know what? I'll just say, Superman Quest for Peace, absolute
Mm.
dog doo doo and ham cheese. The whatever happened after that, like all the behind the scenes stuff that happened during the first and after the first, ruined the entire franchise as a whole. Like I would even say till this day. Like, you know, and so I'm sitting here like, brother, why it goes back to like almost the same issue that Halloween 2 has, just kind of in the opposite direction, where like not the director but the star wanted something in the film and then decided to do all this stuff because they said he could, and then they kind of just wiped it all out. and
Yeah.
just kind of did a massive fuck you. It's almost like the inverse of Halloween 2 in a way.
Yeah.
Like I said in that episode, they got like 40 minutes of like Christopher Reeves going on about nuclear fusion and war, right?
Yeah.
And there's already a lot of it in the movie. So it's
Yeah.
just like, guys, maybe they did do us a service. Hallelujah. But yeah, I'll never watch that movie again unless like someone makes me like laugh at it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think I will say all of these movies that are on my list, I will never watch again. But yeah, Superman 4 was also on this list, like in the latter numbers, numerical order. It's a pretty close tie with Superman 3. Superman 3 is boring. Superman 4 is just laughable. But yeah,
They just progressively get shittier somehow, and
yeah,
like a good amount of shit too. It's not like progressive.
yeah, it's just not fun watching those last few Superman movies before like James Gunn got involved. I like the first Superman movie. Superman 2, I prefer the Richard Donner cut, obviously, and just these two are just I can't.
I actually almost said Superman 2, like the non-Donner version. Like I
Oh,
was considering it,
oh yeah,
but
no,
but
you
like
know how I
I
feel about that movie.
yeah, but I'm like I still don't think it's
It's
actually as
yeah,
bad as
no,
like
it's not.
the other two. So I decided to give it a break.
Yeah, yeah. Obviously, we watched a lot of good things as well. Some we didn't talk about that on the podcast. This was a really good year for me in terms of watching like horror classics. You introduced me to the Final Destination movies and the Scream movies. I want to say great additions to my film library. I love those movies, even though some of them aren't as great. We talked about that. I'm eager to see. Okay, maybe not the Scream ones, but we're going to talk about Scream 7 when that comes out. But yeah, I'm eager to see the new Final Destination movies. I did finally get around to watching all of the Evil Dead movies. We talked about those as well. Curious to see what happens with Evil Dead Burn as well. But also, like, there were just some interesting nuggets that I had heard of and I had never really gotten around to watching. I really liked The Thing from John Carpenter, and also Cabin in the Woods. Those were also great additions. Is there anything else that you want to just quickly mention that you really enjoyed watching?
No, I just like that this year. I think I lean more towards like the attitude when it came to newer like releases that only go when it comes to like films I personally really want to see, whether it's like a stupid film like the Minecraft film or like some like Oscar bait something, you know what I mean, in between. And like I use that time that I usually would going to watch something that I don't want to watch just to kind of keep up to date and
Mm,
use that time to kind of go back and watch films that like I've never watched before. You know what I
yeah.
mean? So I kind of like that. Like I watching Bone Tomahawk for the first time this
Oh,
year
that's a
was
great
pretty
movie. Yeah.
interesting. I got to watch Rebel Without a Cause. Like a little bit in the first 6 months of the year, I watched a little bit more of the older stuff. Like I'm
Mm,
talking about like pre-90s type things. Like, have you ever heard of the movie Heathers with
I have.
yeah, that
I
was
haven't
pretty
seen it though.
solid. Yeah, it's a pretty solid film. Um I'm just trying to look at like obscure films that I know I probably wouldn't have usually watched if it wasn't for taking time. Like there's a really good, I think it's Korean film. It's either yeah, I think it's Korean. It's called Bad Genius.
I don't think I've
Um
heard of that one. Is it a
it's
2017 movie?
yeah, it's a
No,
heist
it's on Netflix.
movie. It's a heist movie that instead of high school students robbing like a bank, they're robbing test answers.
Oh, it's a Thai movie. Okay, I see.
Yeah, it's a heist movie for them stealing the test answers for like one of those statewide tests that
Mm,
like determine their futures.
okay, I
Um,
see. I see.
and the lead girl is supposed to be like this really brilliant like character, and like it sets her up to be like doing everyone's homework, and like that's how she makes like thousands of dollars on the side.
Mm,
She makes more doing this. So yeah, it's a really good film. I think you guys should watch it. But my point.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think the only real, like, foreign film that I had on my list was, Najatu. I wanna get more into, like, some foreign films, and I do have some here. I feel the same. We're kind of at a turning point in Hollywood where there's not as much that's coming out that I feel like I'm super interested in. I think with Marvel, a lot of times, I feel like I'm just watching to, like you said, keep caught up, just kind of out of habit. But a lot of the hype has died out for me on certain things, and I'm more interested in like the DC going forward. But we'll have to see how that pans out. I just think this like was better for me in terms of like horror films. In fact, now that I'm looking at it, all of the movies on my favorite movies that I saw in 2025, like not that came out in 2025, are horror
Just in
films.
general, yeah. No, bro, I'm glad you say that because like I feel like horror just gets a really bad rep from like franchises that I like, which is
Yeah.
like Saw and shit like that. But like I don't think it's a good showcase of what horror could be. And I just think it taints a lot of people from like going in, which I do think is a little crazy. But it's really cool to see that like your grasp on horror has kind of grown and that like you've actually enjoyed most of it. Um, because I was afraid like when I recommended them, you weren't gonna like most of them. But
I mean, I think the thing is that like obviously I didn't really get much of the slasher stuff. That one was really off for me. But I think a majority of them I've really ended up enjoying, and a lot of them are older too, and I'm more excited to watch some things that I've kind of been missing out on. And I've been getting more into like the Criterion Collection. I have like Solaris that I know you and me talked about a little bit when we were talking about Steven Soderbergh. um, I've got one of Guillermo del Toro's first movies, Kronos, that I've always been intrigued to
oh, I
watch.
want to
And
watch that. I
um,
gotta get around to it.
I need to get more into David Cronenberg too. I just bought the recent Criterion Collection release of the Blu-ray for A History of Violence. I don't know if you've seen that one.
I have seen
Um,
it.
that one's one of my favorite movies, and I do need to get back. Do need to watch more of Cronenberg's films as well. So yeah, I think there's still some blockbusters coming up that I'm kind of excited about, but I don't know. I think Nosferatu was it was a bigger horror film that I really enjoyed, and I'm more interested in seeing those kind of films coming out and less of like the bigger budget stuff, like the
Yeah, I
Hollywood
agree.
blockbuster shit. It's just all schlock now.
Totally, bro. Totally. Um, but this is what coming out after Christmas, right? So I guess like hope you guys had a good holiday, right?
Yeah,
I'm trying to
and a
figure
happy
because I
new
don't want to
year.
say it wrong.
Yeah, I'm a little behind in the editing. I gotta get some of
That's
that shit
fine.
out.
So hope you guys had a good Christmas, New Year, whichever holiday this falls in between or after. Yeah,
And yeah, we're gonna be right back at it, guys.
yeah. Let us know down below too, like what your favorite movies were of this past year, just out of curiosity. I like
Oh yeah,
seeing what people say.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, next time we're gonna get right back into it. We're gonna be talking about Greenland. This is a movie. I saw the trailer when it came out. I don't know too much about it. Have you seen it?
I've seen the first 20 minutes.
Oh, okay, okay. That doesn't bode well. But
No, it was like late at night and I knocked out watching it, but I've heard like really good things about it, so like that's why I think I recommended it or we
mm,
we spoke about it. Um but yeah, I'm excited to watch it actually.
yeah, yeah. I think we have a really good slate of films that we're gonna be talking about, and I'm just really excited. To we're gonna be doing some more like actual relevant like movie reviews. Like we talked about Superman when it came out, and I feel like that was really it. But now we're actually gonna this coming year we're gonna be talking about we're gonna be going and seeing them and coming back and giving you guys our thoughts. So
Yeah, that I guess that kind of like leaves us there, right?
yep, yep.
Cool. See you guys on the next one. Peace.